Let's talk about communication. So you're a great communicator. Again, really good content on LinkedIn. Tell me kind of how you communicate, what your style is. When you go to an in-person meeting, when you're talking to potentially a new client, when you're out like socially. Any tips, tricks for people who may want to communicate and build new relationships?
Yeah, so I'm naturally a very logical and sort of brainy kind of person. I haven't always had the gift for interpersonal relationships. And so for me, I think a lot of it was I was focused too much on myself. I was worried about how I would come off. I was worried about how other people thought about me and less about them. And the more I've been on this side of the space, the more I understand that it's more about the other person.
100%.
And so that's a big tip for me. Be interested, provide value, but I don't need to sit down with someone and talk about how cool I think I am or the things that I've done. I need to fully understand what they're doing. And that means not interjecting. That means letting people kind of run with ideas and thoughts, and obviously add some value here and there where you can, but you learn a lot more by listening than obviously by talking.
100%. That's amazing. So guys, we hear that often from really good salespeople, really good relationship builders. You should be listening more than you talk. You also have to ask interesting questions. Because for me, if someone's sitting there just asking me questions, I'm probably going to get bored. People love the sound of their own voice generally, and people are usually in their own heads and they just like, what they're doing more than what you're doing. But at the same time, I think you want to be asking questions that are intelligent. I think you really want to be involved in the conversation with that other person and really making an effort to get to know them so you can extract what value I can bring to this person. And sometimes you can't.
Right.
But you might know someone else who can, and then you just connect those people, and then it's hands off. Hey, good luck, guys.
Yeah, I think a great way to build relationships is to connect people. You don't want to that be your only value, right? You need to bring your own value, but connecting people, you're doing a ton of it in this space, I'm doing a ton of it in this space, is incredibly valuable. And I believe in that abundance mindset that it'll come around to you. Even if it means me sending someone to another lender because I know they're better at this thing that they're asking me for.
I say this, bro, we talk about this in our group. It's really good that you said that. It's like, literally, there is more money than any of us can make or spend. And there are more relationships in the world than any of us can create, cultivate, and manage. So if you understand that concept, how would you not have an abundance mindset?
Right.
There's more out there. I just need to go get it and do the work. People are like, I got this, it's mine.
Right.
Well, that's scarcity, because then I'm like, okay, well, what about, how many times am I going to text this one contact today?
Right.
There's millions of other ones I could go be making, and I can even share that person with somebody else. And then they're like, oh my God, that guy's great. And then they have a contact, and then it just becomes this cycle of just awesomeness. Yeah. For me, that's how it works. All right, let's talk about understanding. You said that, generally you are sort of someone who breaks things down internally. And how has your understanding changed? Maybe something that you understand now in your career or personal life that you wish you would have understood as a younger man that maybe would have, helped you a little bit further, or something you can share with the listeners.
Yeah, I think it's that focusing on yourself thing. So before I got that opportunity that we were speaking about earlier, I was managing a pretty large team, like up to 10 or 12 junior analysts, all fresh grads, all really no experience in finance or real estate or banking. And I was spending so much time and mental capacity trying to build myself up, and less time than I should have trying to build these other people up.
Yeah.
And what's really cool though is some of these relationships years later now. So we broker loans in our company as well. And some of these relationships are bankers in other states. They're working at different funds. And so I've done a better job at focusing on those other people and developing that relationship. And it's really paid off. And it's not a selfish thing. Like, if nothing ever comes back to me out of some of these things, I don't care.
Yeah. How to Win Friends and Influence People, great book. And then one guy that I've followed, and I don't really follow a lot of sort of guru type people, and I don't even think he is, but do you know who Jesse Itzler is?
I have heard him on a podcast.
I love Jesse Itzler. He's super dope, and he's all about unique, very, very interesting ways to make yourself top of mind in other people's lives and let them know that you care. And it does really set you apart. So you should check out Jesse Itzler. So shout out Jesse Itzler.
I've got a little tangent on that. So one of the reasons why I chose to go to the firm that I'm at now is the coaching and the mentorship is really there. So
Huge.
two of our principals co-founded a $1 billion a year origination platform doing fix and flip loans. They started this back in 2013.
What's the name of the business?
So that was Center Street Lending.
Okay.
And one of the things that I've learned from our CEO is that he has a habit where every single day he will contact someone in his contact list, friends, family, former colleagues, whatever. And just to reach out, it's not something that requires a reply. It's not something that's salesy, but it's a, hey, I'm thinking about you. I hope you're doing well.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I talked to our guys about that, I think probably a week ago. I learned that from another guy who was one of the best salespeople I know. I'm not going to mention his name, but he was so good at sales that it was almost like Barry White or, you know, Celine Dion or someone was singing to you. You just wanted to do what he said. And even when you didn't agree, you're like, wow, that's a really, really good point. I should probably do that. I'm not going to, but I want to. He told me that this is a long time ago, he told me that every single day on his commute home from work, he would reach out to multiple guys. And again, it was not salesy. It was not, hey, what can you do for me? It wasn't even like, hey, let's do a business deal. It was like, hey, how are you? How are things going? How are the kids? How was your trip? What do you guys got planned for Christmas? And he just did that every day. And then, you know, when business ideas came up, and again, bro, it's not a sales thing. It's building relationships and investing. You have to do the same thing with family. You gotta ask your wife how her day was.
Right.
You gotta ask your girlfriend how her day was, right? You gotta ask the kids, hey, you know, how was school today? You have to invest. And so, you know, when people look at, oh, you're a salesperson, I'm like, yes, I am a salesperson. I own and love being a salesperson. I would never want to be anything else than someone who gets to take a product that I find valuable, buy it or obtain it, make it better, and then sell it to somebody else when they need that.
100%.
I'll do that 100%. All right, cool. Let's talk about success. So, to what do you attribute your success thus far in your career, Dylan?
So I've talked about this a little bit before, but I think I have an ability to pivot.
If the puck moves, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's right. Yeah. So I think a lot of people will, if you have failure, you run into a wall or something, they just kind of freeze. And I've had a few points in my life. Like one, I stopped playing hockey in high school because who plays ice hockey in high school in California? Nobody. So
you know Greg, right? Our COO.
Yeah.
He's from Canada.
Okay.
Originally.
Yeah.
He grew up in Tampa. He has, I don't know if you know about the hockey bro thing. Don't you know? Like, you gotta talk to him about it. He's hilarious, dude. Because he has the Canadian accent he can turn on, and then with the hockey thing. So you're gonna get a kick out of that. Sorry, go ahead.
So yeah, so one of the first things for that was like, I didn't know what to do in high school. I was kind of bored, and I had a friend that was just going to club wrestling practice. He's like, hey, why don't you come check this out? And like from day one, even though I got the absolute shit kicked out of me, I was hooked.
How old are you then?
I was, I guess, 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were you wrestling, like 30s?
Like 50s, 60s, 150, 160.
Oh, 150, 160, got it. Yeah.
So high school was 160, 152, college was 165.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you're a big boy at 15 though. Bro, when I was 14, I was like 127 pounds soaking wet.
So I was, so it's funny, maybe my sophomore year, I might have cut down to like 45 or something. So I was a little bit of a fluffy, like 165 when I started. And that first summer after that first season where I really got hooked and I was like, hey, I'm interested in this. I put on like 15 pounds of muscle.
Yeah.
Just working out and having that goal for me, like we talked a little bit about the stuff that I do outside of work, is immensely important because when you run into failure in one part of your life, you usually need something positive in another part of your life that you can rely on to give you a little bit of strength in that moment.
Stability.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't get this deal, but you know, I'm going home to a great family and I have a great life. Like that's cool. But if your life sucks every day and you hate your job, you don't have good personal relationships and you're just going home and playing video games, your life's going to continue to suck.
100%.
So yeah, I don't know where else I was going with that, but
you're talking about being able to pivot. So if you have something that essentially is not going well, you can essentially move or find something else to offset that negativity to continue to lean on.
Yeah, and so one of the other ones was, I got a wrestling scholarship out of state, And my whole plan there was I wanted to do engineering. It was a tiny school that didn't have engineering, so it was like go there for 2 years, transfer to another school. And my 2 years was up. I kind of wanted to come home. I didn't want to go to these out-of-state schools. My family wasn't able to afford out-of-state tuition, so I came back to UCSD, and I didn't find out until whatever the induction day, I forget what they call it, where you're sitting and you're signing up for your classes, that I was admitted as an undeclared major. And at UCSD, the engineering program.
Can I just take wrestling? Like, that's what I want.
Right. And so I had to sit down and say, okay, how important is it to me to pursue this versus get finished with college and start my life? And that was when I made a pivot and ended up studying management science, which sounds kind of like a business major, but it was an econ and math, like very heady sort of major. And so that was just another one of those moments where it's like, sit down, take stock. What is the opportunity? Okay, I can do this with a low probability of success, or I can make the pivot and get myself out here and set myself up for opportunities down the road. And I felt like this was a good enough technical major that I could do a lot of things with. That's
Love
what I
it,
wanted.
bro. I love that.